What's up everyone, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Reptile News. You know, I almost didn't film today because there was a topic I wanted to talk about that I feel really strongly about, and I thought that I could potentially be biased about this topic. And one of the things I've always strived for on this show is to not be biased, a completely unbiased version of the events that I choose every time I record. I don't have enough time. I don't think anybody has enough time to talk about all the news as related to reptiles. There's actually quite a bit of it, but those stories that I do choose that do sound interesting to me, I try to be somewhat unbiased about. I give my opinion about it, but I try to be unbiased, and I was worried that this particular topic I could not be unbiased about, so I actually wasn't going to record because it kept taking over my brain. But then I found a couple stories that just absolutely blew my mind, and I thought, I've got to talk about these stories. And the worst part is there's only a couple of them, and I couldn't figure out which one I want to talk about first. So we're going to start off in Alabama, where Dale County Sheriff's Department is apparently a federal lawsuit has been filed against them. You see, a man named Tarwick Redding Jr. apparently was working in their kitchen when they came in with what he calls a yellow Burmese python and scared him. He informed the correctional officers that he was deathly afraid of snakes, and I guess one of them decided to wake him up with this snake just inches from his face. Apparently this all happened back in 2013, August 11th to be exact. And Mr. Redding is now suing for $3 million, claiming that when he jumped up from his bunk, he hit his head. He later suffered from anxiety and post-traumatic stress. He also apparently suffers from congenital heart failure, which this has apparently exasperated his condition. Now, they almost had me. I thought, you know, I was always one to think that once you were, assuming rightly, convicted of a crime and actually in prison, that you pretty much give up your rights when you decide to commit that crime. And I thought, you know, this guy's kind of a Nancy for being so scared of a snake, but at the same time, these correctional officers are kind of assholes for making fun of this guy and trying to scare him with this snake. And then we got to one of the final notes, which says, according to the lawsuit, that Burmese pythons can release poisonous venom and inflict pain. And that's where I just throw all my give a shit out the window and really hope that they charge this guy with filing a false complaint against the sheriff's department. I just can't begin to fathom the stupid of this story, but we're going to have to move on because it gets even better. And now we're going to move on to Bell County, Kentucky, where a 60-year-old man by the name of John Brock is dead today after handling and being bit by a rattlesnake during church services. Apparently he was bit in the arm during church services and he refused medical attention. He went to a relative's house where a few hours later he was pronounced dead by the coroner. They're saying there's not going to be an autopsy. Medical records are going to be used to determine his cause of death. I think we can all figure out what that was. And the biggest part about this story is not that a man died of a snake, but that is that people are actually doing this and believing that no harm will come of them when they handle these venomous animals in the nature that they've handled them. I've never seen one of these services actually in person. I've seen videos of them on the internet, and the way some of these animals are manhandled, it's a wonder that they're not bit more. Apparently they cite Mark 16:18, which reads, "They will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people and they will get well." And the report reads that snake handling and this belief has gone on in religious congregations since the early 1900s. I particularly believe that estimate is false. I think it's been going on a lot longer since then. But I don't particularly understand. I mean, me, myself, I would never take part in that sort of thing. Number one, because I'm not stupid. No offense to the stupid people. And number two, because I know exactly what kind of pain and agony and torture the death by being bit by a snake can cause. I know people that have been bit by snakes. I know some of the medical procedures and the science behind a snake bite, and know just how absolutely excruciating of a death that it could be. And I just choose to not go that route. Which brings us right into your question of the day. What do you think about religious congregations physically handling venomous snakes and drinking their venom during their services? Are you for it? Are you against it? Why? Leave a text comment down below. And that, my friends, has been all your news for this Wednesday. If you'd like to read any more about these stories, that link's right down below here in the description. And as always, if you're still watching now, you know what's going on in the crazy-ass reptile world. Be good to each other, and we'll see you Friday.